Hello, my friends. We are on day 5 of our 90-day mind and body reset challenge. How is it going so far? How are you feeling? Are you noticing any results? Are you noticing just any internal uh, dialogue, monologue that is making you feel a certain way? What are you noticing? A big hope I have for you in these 90 days is you get to know yourself better. Get to know what works for you, get to know what doesn't work for you. And when we make these changes for our health, a lot of times we start bringing up very old programming. We might find things from our childhood, oh, that kind of sugary food brings me comfort. It equals love. Um, and you might find yourself kind of doubting, if you're worth these changes. So I hope you're journaling, even, just minor, just what you notice throughout the day. Or you can use the comments here to keep track and just use this community to help sort out your feelings and to share, because I bet you'll find that you're not alone as you do this work. This type of work is something so many people don't do. We are designed to stay safe. We're designed to stay in comfort. We're designed to stay with what we know. It's a part of our brain. It's wired for survival and staying in with the familiar. So, in these 90 days, what we're asking our body and our minds to do is to break out of that familiar and to go into something new and strange. Incredibly potent, incredibly powerful. We should honestly be doing this on a regular basis. So, congratulations, you are part of a very small percentage of people who's making big, huge change. So, this type of stress that we give our body, it is a good stress. It is a appropriate stress. But if you find yourself being especially triggered, you know, lean more on those de-stress techniques that we've talked about, things like meditation and breath work, getting outside, movement, especially outside, is incredibly powerful, especially as you're working through things that might trigger you and make you feel kind of gross, like you want to move. And just things like affirmations, putting back in good words to help counteract some of those maybe not great words that are popping up. Okay, you've got this. There are some meditations that I've shared on Insight Timer. If you haven't seen those yet, you can go to the link I have in my bio. It's a totally free app. Those meditations are free. You'll find the meditations I've created, as well as from probably hundreds of thousands of teachers on there. I don't even know. But lots of ways to get good words into your system. You can't do that enough, especially during these 90 days. You are essentially creating a new you, day by day, choice by choice. So honor that this is a journey of transformation, and to be kind to yourself. And as I said the other day, if you feel like you fall off track, you make some bad choices, it is not done. Just come back. You can come back the same day with a new choice. Let's say you eat a bunch of something you didn't plan to eat. That's okay. Kind of reflect on that. Maybe there's some journaling to do there. Maybe just enjoy it. Like you ate them, and I hope you enjoyed it and found some kind of satisfaction from that. And then when you're ready, you can do some air squats to help regulate your blood sugar. You can take yourself for a walk, and then you can reset in that moment, or you can reset the next morning. Whatever you're feeling called to do. Lots of options for getting through this. Okay, so I want to talk more. I have some notes over here about looking at this point in time. We're 5 days into it. How are your goals working for it? And I talked about this a bit in the Make a Plan video. If you're new here, if you have not done that, if you need to revisit, you can go back to the Make a Plan video where I go into more depth. But I want to be sure, if you're feeling a little bit like wobbly on your goals, let's just go back to basics. Let's make sure you've got a clear plan in place and an environment that's going to support you. All right, so let's go through it. First thing, make sure you have a clear time container. If you're doing this live with me, If you started November 1st, 2025, we're going to January 30th, which is 90 days, 2026. So it's taking us through holidays, it's taking us through the new year, solidly into that first month. It's a powerful time to do this kind of work. That said, you can start anytime. If you're starting today, which happens to be November 5th, then you just bump it and figure out your 90-day container, write down that date. So that's the date you're committed to. And something I'll say, give yourself something to look forward to at the end of those 90 days. Maybe there's like a race you're going to do, or a vacation you're going to go on, or a party that you're going to host. Is there something you can do to have this like end goal, something that you especially want to feel good for? A lot of times I hear about people say, oh, my child's getting married. I want that to be, my end goal. I want to feel great for that. So that kind of thing, think about what it could be for you. It can be a real event or something that you create or that you plan as part of this. All right. So you've got your container, you've got your time container, you've got your big awesome thing at the end. Maybe it's a small awesome thing, whatever it is that feels good to you and is inspiring to you. Number one, you're going to track what you can. And so I'll say track what you can control. And so you can control your actions. You can't control your results. For example, weight loss. And weight loss, we'll talk a little bit more about that. But you can track, your food that you put in your body. You can track your movement, your workouts, your meditations, your journaling, all that. Those are things you can track. Those are actions that you do or don't do. So you can track, and you can choose how you track them. For example, if your goal is to meditate, maybe your goal is to increase your meditations over the weeks, over the months. And so maybe your goal is 5 minutes this week and, 30 minutes a day by the end. So you figure that out. Maybe you want to start 5 minutes this week, 10 next week, and slowly bump it up. Meditation is something you can track. It's something you do. So have that written down. You can break your 90 days into 30-day chunks. So almost like little segments of the year. You're going to break down into whatever chunks work for you. So I'd recommend 30-day chunks just because that feels really doable. You're kind of looking at a month at a time. And especially with November, you've got November. If you're in the US, you've got Thanksgiving as part of that chunk. And then when you look at the December chunk, you've got Christmas, if you celebrate that, whatever you celebrate. And then you've got New Year's. So you can kind of do your planning around that, like really allow for life to breathe in those plans. So you might have some of your days where you're not having any restrictions be around the holidays, for example. So plan what you can and really do action-based tracking. Things that I would recommend tracking are tracking your food. Again, I am tracking using just a food journal. I'm just writing it down. I'm not tracking macros other than protein because that is one of my big goals is to increase my protein. I want to make sure I'm growing my muscles and all the good things that protein and amino acids do. So I'm tracking my protein through that food journal, tracking steps. My goal is 10,000 steps a day in this. So what is it for you? If you're not quite there, again, like with meditation, start 5,000 and then over each 30-day chunk, as you're looking at it, you can set a different goal. And you can vary this as we go. Like if you find like you've done 30 days and you're like, oh man, I want to meditate an hour a day. This is yours. You make it yours. You do what you want to do. I'd suggest tracking workouts. So I'm not doing anything crazy. I'm doing a lot of body weight or just kind of lower weight things, but I am trying to get to failure multiple times a week. And I can get that with body weight at this point. I've got a lot of work to do. And then tracking de-stress activities. So for me, that's like breathing. I shared box breathing the other day. Great tool for helping reduce stress. Meditation, great one. And tracking sleep is another good one. So I've got food, step count, workout, de-stress activities, sleep. So you can choose maybe the top 3 that feel like they really resonate with you depending on your goals. And then starting with 3 to 5, write down your goals. What are your goals? And again, activity-based goals versus weight-based goals. So we want to focus on what we can control versus results. Weight is crazy. So trying to focus on weight is really slippery, especially if your goal is to build muscle, because you're going to build muscle. You're going to naturally lose fat because your muscle needs more energy to just exist. So your muscle is going to, as you increase your muscle, it's going to help you burn excess calories. It's going to help you get into ketosis faster, all these things. So it's tricky to just base weight, because I could gain 10 pounds of muscle and I'd get really disappointed because I've got 10 pounds more muscle. Over time, that's going to end up leading to reduced fat. But I might just get so discouraged by the increased weight that I stop doing what I'm doing, and I lose my muscle, and then I just end up having the fat, and that's not what I want. That's not my goal. All right, let me turn to my next page here. You've got your goals. You've got at least 3 goals. Write them in multiple places. So I like to have things on my phone, have them in my journal, the same place where I'm writing my food and thought journal. I've got them there. Fridge is great because as you're going by the fridge to get food, you can keep those goals front and center. And also share those goals with someone you trust. Be really mindful of who you let into this space. Make sure it's someone who's going to encourage you, support you, and not tear you down. Be really mindful, because if you're in the place you are now, it's very possible you have people who've kind of maintained this illusion of safety that you're in. Like, it feels safe. There's a status quo. And if they start to sense change is happening, their nervous system might start to freak out and might, like, kind of like the lobster is dragging their fellow brethren back into the pot. They might start to consciously or not pull you back. So make sure it's someone who can really encourage you. Can use the comments here, find community here. I've got you. I'm encouraging you. Tell somebody you trust about your goals. Okay. And then next, I want you to figure out what is going to motivate and inspire you uniquely. So the other day I shared a video talking about future you. So thinking about who you're going to be at the end of these 90 days, or thinking about who you're going to be even in 2 to 3 years' time as you continue these habits, because you're building sustainable, doable habits and you're making change over time, incremental changes over time. You're going to have momentum in 2 to 3 years of making this kind of lifestyle change. Who are you going to be? You're going to be so amazing. So really using that future you, again, that meditation, if you didn't watch the video yet, you can access the future you meditation visualization through the Insight Timer app, through the link in my bio, free. And it'll help you really feel into what it's going to be like in your mind, in your body at the end of this 90-day cycle. And let that help pull you forward. You're like, oh my gosh, she's going to have this energy. She's going to feel amazing. And let that move you forward. Think about that event, that thing that you have at the end of the 90 days. I'll just say wedding, just for the sake of it. Think about that wedding that you have at the end of the 90 days and how you're going to feel in those nice clothes, as you see people that you love, and maybe there's someone you want to make a little jealous, that kind of thing. Have fun with it. How's it going to feel at the end of those 90 days as you move differently, as you hold yourself differently, you're thinking differently, you're believing different things. Okay. Something else that might help you is having a photo of someone who inspires you. Maybe there's an athlete who inspires you, or someone really beautiful, or maybe it's a family member who you want to make these health changes because it would benefit them as well. So maybe you have kids who rely on you, and the healthier you can be and the more energized and the ability to move freely and get around, it's going to make your relationship with them better and stronger. Okay, so next, in this 90-day container you've got your start date, your end date. You're going to set up your environment. So again, this can be tricky if you share a home with other people or if you're spending a lot of time at work. So you're going to do what you can to control your environment. If there are limits you have with other people's stuff, I will say, as much as other people's stuff that might trigger you, get that out of your eyesight in whatever way you can. Maybe it goes in a different place. You talk to those people and just say, hey, can we just move it? Just say, I'm really trying to do better, make better choices. And this stuff is my Achilles, and please would it be okay if we, made these changes? And chances are pretty good, if they love you, if they're encouraging to you, they've got you. So out of sight, out of mind, it just really makes a difference. When it's there, it's like your brain is having to make a choice again and again. Should I or shouldn't I? Should I or shouldn't I? That's exhausting. It's exhausting. So like temptation is exhausting. So just have it out of sight. And then instead of that, keep your best options front and center. So if you can rearrange your pantry, rearrange your fridge, get that stuff, you can tell whoever the stuff belongs to, hey, that's going to be back here. It'll still be here for you, but I cannot have it in my line of sight, and put your good stuff in front of it. So put your veggies, your good meats, your good snacks, your cottage cheese, your good yogurt, have those all front and center. And then next you're going to go to the store and stock up. Again, make sure when you fill yourself with all the good things, it's kind of like you're just naturally squeezing out those things that aren't good for you. So stock up on the foods that are going to keep you most on track, that are going to keep you feeling full and satiated, that are going to support your muscles and your mind. So good proteins, again, that depends on you and your eating habits. So you can do, if you're vegetarian, good beans, lentils, organic, non-GMO soy. You do your lean chickens, turkey, red meat. I think that depends on everybody and their metabolism. I was just listening to another expert who eats a lot of meat, and she said she still recommends not having it more than once or twice a week. So that's your protein. You want your nature's carbs, so your good squashes, your potatoes, your beans and lentils fall in that as well. And your healthy fats. So stuff like avocado, your nuts and seeds, hemp seeds are a really great one for your brain. And then next, after you've brought in all these amazing foods, you're going to meal prep what you can. So let's say something you got as a nature's carb was some squash. You can cook your squash in the oven. You can cook a bunch of that, chop it up, and, save it in containers for as the week goes on. If you're eating meat, you can pre-cook, batch cook a bunch of meat, spice it up. Really think about what is going to set yourself up for success, especially if you're working outside the home, or if you're outside the home regularly and you're going to need to eat. When you can meal prep and just have what you're going to eat available for you, that's going to help so much. Next, to help keep you on track for all these things and incorporating your top goals, schedule what you can. So schedule your workouts, schedule your walks, schedule your meditations. As I've talked about before, I have a little tough time, especially with movement and the weather. It depends on the weather. If it's frigid cold in the morning, I don't want to go out first thing in the morning. I want to go out in the middle of the day. Vice versa. If it's wicked hot, I want to go out first thing. So I give myself a little wiggle room as I can. That said, I will also, last night, I didn't get a chance to walk during the day. So what I did at night, I just bundled up on my coat, I put on a headlamp and took the dog out, and we did some back and forths right in front of my street, went the next block up and did a couple back and forths there. It helps that there's a nice big moon giving some extra light. As I mentioned before, we have a lot of wild animals around where I live. So if you don't have that, you're good to go. But just one way to make it happen. There are always ways to make it happen. So schedule what you can. And just set yourself up as much as you can. A big thing, like I mentioned before, with as you're sharing your goals with people you trust, think about who and what you're pulling into your environment otherwise. Think about the things you're reading in terms of social media. Who are you following? Who's going to encourage your success and support your success? One thing I find I can't do, like I love recipes. I love following creators who are cooking. I find that during something like this, I struggle with that. I have to be really mindful about what I'm watching and making sure that they are making healthy foods. I can't watch someone make a bunch of desserts when I'm in a phase like this, because it starts getting my brain going and getting me off the track. So be mindful of what you're consuming, mindful of books you're reading, newspapers you're reading, social media posts, whether they're health influencer related or not. Just watch the news and notice if it's like pulling you into a stress cycle. Notice the people who are around you. Do they lift you up? Do they make you feel not great? Bring in, again, control what you can. Something I'll say that's really huge in helping to shift what you can. Again, you might not be able to control the who or the where, but what you can control is how you feel about it and what you do about it. So something I highly recommend is a gratitude practice. This is scientifically proven. It sounds woo-woo, but bring in gratitude as much as you can. Gratitude to yourself for doing this practice, for being part of this 90-day challenge. Because if you can do this, like take yourself on a different trajectory for 90 days. Like think about the direction you were going before. You're just kind of maybe even like mindlessly, unconsciously, on this path that was leading you into a place of poor health. And it's going to just take you like way over there, way out in whatever, right field, left field. But if you can kind of again, 90 days of intentional day after day recommitment, re-choosing, being really clear and reassessing your goals, keeping track of your thoughts, making healthier choices day after day, even with days of setback, it's okay. You're just going to keep coming back day after day. That is going to build into not only giving you different results, but it's going to give you incredible momentum as you recommit day after day to keep making even greater changes. And so really bring in gratitude for your ability to make this choice day after day. Bring in gratitude for the people who are around you. Gratitude for being in a world that we can do something like this together virtually, no matter where we are in the world. Gratitude even for the people who might be tricky in your life that still give you give you strength in a way, because they test your ability to respond and to stay cool in the moment and to think about a good comeback for next time. So giving gratitude, even for things that we never have thought about giving gratitude for before. This could be a great opportunity in your journal, is to really dig into the nooks and crannies and get ridiculous with gratitude and the things that you have in your life that you didn't even maybe realize were giving you so much good stuff. Okay, you've got this. Cheering you on. This is a good time to just reset and reevaluate your goals, how they're working for you. And, we're just 5 days into it. So again, still learning, still dialing it in. You've got this. All right, let me know how it goes for you. If you want to share your top 3 goals or more in the comments, I'd love to hear it. And let's keep this conversation going. Tell me how it's going. See you soon.